Thanks guys for showing up. This is just going to be a real quickie because I need to point out a few things for heads up and for predictives and for things like I told you so and so on. Hello Victor. I like the way you show up for the astrology. It's fun. Thank you. It makes me feel like I'm doing something useful. Hello Fluffles. Oh dear. Allergies are ridiculous at the moment. Excuse me. I have to take some medicine. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know it's not very good for you, but sometimes what can you do? So I want to get to a few points pretty quickly here. Greetings. You probably heard about how the Boeing space rocket thing is kind of a dud. Well, Boeing's having problems anyway. Probably heard about Elon Musk and his rockets. They're going really well. Probably heard about how Elon Musk basically gave the finger to Apple products and told them, if you dare put your AI app on your phones, then everybody and everything in my Elon Musk world of X and Tesla and SpaceX and satellites and all of it, you're going to be banned. Okay? Blocked. Thank you very much. I thought that was quite funny. Now, I don't know if you remember, but a while ago we were talking about this new vibe energy that's coming in where there's this huge cluster of Gemini. And a while back we had a stellium of 5 over there in Gemini. It's now down to 4. We've got Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, and Venus all in Gemini. And there's a lot of pressure mounting up in the high degrees of Gemini. We'll come to that in a second because it's kind of exciting, but it's all about the I told you so. All that Gemini energy, if you think of it as just innocent, pure energy of light and communications, people want to know what the hell's going on. People learn, they listen, they want to interact. People want common sense. And the Gemini is really, really straightforward. At the other end of it is, of course, all that massive Sagittarius stuff. And that's not really active at the moment. But it's very, very critical when you come to a fellow called Donald, because his whole Gemini Sagittarius axis is massively powerful. So he is being lit up like supercharged on steroids right now. And really it's just like surfing the biggest of the biggest waves of all time. And it's very beneficial for him. with all the astrology and so on. So he's riding it and doing very well in his own way. Grandpa Joe's been having a hard time ever since he got into office because he's had a lot of opposition from Uranus and some of the other planets going through Uranus, like Jupiter. Uncle Joe is a Scorpio with a lot of planets in the 12th house, which is quite common. 12th house emphasis is quite common for a lot of politicians, because a lot of politicians depend on, let's say, saying one thing and meaning another, or doing whatever they have to do to getting voted and elected in and then doing something else instead. So there's a lot of the 12th house unhealthy expressions going on there. Some of you might notice, some of you might not care. I've certainly noticed. Anyway, he's coming seriously unglued right now. Him and his whole wing are just really, really struggling. So the Gemini energy was piling up there. We had the stellium, 5 planets. Now the moon has moved on. Moon is already way over in Virgo. And we're left with Jupiter, Venus, Sun, and Mars. Sorry, Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, and Venus, all shining on there on Saturn. Saturn is in the 12th house, 19 degrees Pisces. And that just happened in the Gemini energy. So if you think it's really, really hard right now for all the criminals, it's going to become even tougher. Let me go through a couple of things here. A lot of basically really simple. If you think of the truth as just common sense facts that are being portrayed, instead of being twisted and perverted and undermined and censored, then things become very, very simple. It's Gemini energy. I just want to know what's going on. Give me the information. Tell me what you know. I will respond accordingly. It's human communication, commerce, trade, buy, sell. Think of the energy of a farmer's market or something like that, where people are intermingling. We want to engage, and I think of the small towns and villages and farmers markets as classic examples of friends and family all gathering around for daily commerce as part of their day-to-day lives. And anybody, if you've ever lived in those kind of environments, anybody who is, let's say, a piece of work, who is a nasty piece of slime ball, they eventually get outed. Eventually the whole town, the whole village figures it out, and it's not pretty. And that's what's happening right now. Saturn is sitting there 19 degrees, and the sun is blasting right on it. Same with Venus, same with Mercury, and the planet, the Gemini energy is saying, come on. And so that's what's happened. We just had a statement. It's now legally being determined that the bug that's associated with birds and chickens and cows right now, that's the latest bug that's being spread around the world. And of course, as we know, in a classic situation where the arsonist is the fireman, or if you want to think of it, the fireman is the arsonist, we already know that the little pills and the chemicals that they stick in you with needles are part of the program for, world domination by these corporate elites and so on. However, they're getting outed. All those elites are getting outed. And because there's enough momentum in we the people to say enough is enough is enough. We know it's all lies, scam, BS. So we're calling you out. And it was just decreed that in some major court here in America that these so-called BAX treatments are not actually BACCINES, because they're not being administered in that way. They're being administered as a treatment. And so what's happened is all these big pharma companies have now become fully exposed to insurance claims for damages caused by the bug in the first place, and then the treatments using the injectors in the second place. And so the big pharma people are really, really squirmy because the truth has come out. I think it's kind of funny. I feel sad for all the people who got their different, treatments, and it's awful. It's just awful. Tens of millions. I don't know if it's hundreds of millions. I can't remember, but it's a lot of people. The thing is, the elites, as you know, were hoping that they would kill off billions, and it didn't work. Their plans were like feeble, pathetic attempt at, mass slaughter. It backfired. Yeah, a lot of people got hurt and killed and died, and hideous things happened, but it wasn't anywhere close to what the elites were hoping. Anyway, next. Love Triber sent me a bunch of really interesting things. One of them is about this secret covenant. And I'm not going to talk about it much, but it's an extremely disturbing covenant drafted originally by the ROTHSCHILDS family, with all their elite buddies about how they're going to take over and run the world. And this was drafted many years ago. And everything that was drafted is now being enacted today, live in real time. It's very, very, very disturbing. But again, everything's exactly as it should be, because that's what was put into motion. And they have a lot of power and a lot of money and a lot of control. So that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with today. There's a few things here I can't actually talk about on my channel. As much as I like to push the envelope about my conversations, this is... I'm going to leave it, sorry. Some of you might have heard that Russia is now visiting Cuba, right down on our south coast, just a couple of 100 miles off of Florida. It's just it's just one nuclear sub, one, battle frigate, and a couple of support boats. But that's a pretty scary message. Russia is basically going, yeah, Joe, yeah, Department of Defense, That's also interesting because there's a lot of this going on, as we described for many, many months now, and it's just increasing. And a few days ago, it was reported that one of our B-52 mega bombers was flying along the Kaliningrad Russia border, and basically right on the border. And again, it's all about messaging, sending messages, Gemini, communication. The American military was communicating to Russia that you want to be on our border? Well, guess what? We're right there on your border. We can press a button right now. You're gone. So it's all, I think of it all as a form of communication. Another American military bigwig basically announced, again, this is all messaging, and you know how fighters fluff up before the fight and they're all kind of going, yeah. I'm not into UFC fighting or anything like that. I'm not a sports guy, really, but they like to do that. I'm gonna get you. Just watch out. I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna do that. So there's a lot of that stuff going on, especially with China in the South China Seas area. And every time they get very belligerent, they regret it, because little tiny Taiwan and little Japan and little South Korea and little Philippines and bits of Australia, bits of New Zealand, bits of India flare up, and China sort of goes, oh, wait a minute, we were just doing an exercise. It's okay. We're just doing an exercise. And then simultaneously you get a bunch of F-35s and so on. I mean, if the Chinese are going to message like we're going to take you down. We're going to take the whole island. And then Americans are going like, even though our military is kind of, let's say, distorted right now, we still have a very powerful military, and it just takes a few F-35s and F-16s and F-22s to go, and China can't see them, and then China realizes, oh my God, we'd all be dead. Okay, all right, so I gotta go back home. In the meanwhile, I'm Mr. Ping, and I'm going to tell the whole world everything's great over here. We got 5% growth. Everybody come back to China. Come on back to China. It's a fantastic place to grow your business. It's not working. China is imploding live in real time. Money is bleeding out of China. It's actually very, very scary. There's hundreds of millions of people, hundreds of millions, going down the tube into poverty, extreme poverty in some cases. I think it's going to end up as mass starvation. Their food and farming processes are absolutely chaotic. Chaos. Yeah, so we got that Russia's visiting Cuba. There you go. You know, Russia could obliterate Miami or, you know, Charleston, South Carolina, or maybe, you know, Louisiana, Mississippi, or New Orleans or something. Just a couple of buttons. But anyway, so yeah, USA has already planned out what they're calling a hellscape for China if they start messing properly with little Taiwan. Here's a couple of things that I really enjoyed regarding the Gemini energy, outing all the Saturn energy. And the Saturn energy is just doing what Saturn does, just reality check police, big time. So basically, the essence is, if you have risen to vast amounts of power and money and control through extremely effective but very evil, nefarious mechanisms like lies, deception, betrayal, theft, manipulation, bribery, corruption, murder, assault, and so on, eventually Saturn's going to call it out. And Gemini is doing the really, really hard multiple squares at exactly that degree. So, Hunter, son of Joe, is being called out. Of course, we know it's a sham thing. It's like he's been guilty on all counts. But, like, so what? It's just a feel-good thing to make it look like, you know, the Dems are, you know, we are just, we abide by the law. And meanwhile, Donald and his team, he got fined, what is it, 180 million for a couple of typos. I love it. Merrick Garland is the Attorney General, the top lawyer in the country. Not the Supreme Court, but the top lawyer is the Attorney General. And of course, he's running cover for Grandpa Joe and son Hunter and all of that stuff, and basically running a racket. And he's been outed just this afternoon. Well, this evening, Congress voted to hold Merrick Garland in contempt. So now Congress has the legal right to bring Garland in, subpoena into Congress to be shredded by the, I don't know what you call them now. It's the Gang of Eight. It's the really hardcore conservatives who are calling out all the BS. Everybody knows that the U.S. Federal Reserve has been outed now. Everybody across the world fully understands that the U.S. Fed is this mind-boggling, effective, incredibly successful scam operation that's been running for about 120 years. But it's run its course because everyone else on Earth got sucked into it like a massive, like, pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, multi-level marketing scheme, whatever you want to call it. In other words, if you didn't abide by their mechanisms, you would suffer. Anyone who didn't play along with the Fed would suffer the U.S. military. And basically the U.S. military is working for the Federal Reserve banking system and the petrodollar and oil and maintaining dollar dominance and so on. Well, that's all getting outed. The BRICS are forming up. Here's the thing. There's a lot of drama about all this stuff because some, people sell their newspapers, their TV channels. The conservatives tell this story, the liberals tell that story, and so on, and they slant it to serve their audience, and so on. But anyway, they're coming outed. Here's the thing right now.
They're telling you everything's sort of stable, it's going to be great. Just watch in about 2 months, about 60 days, in about 2 months from now, interest rates are going to magically shrink a little bit. Oh, I wonder how and why that would happen. Oh, it's going to tingle the economy, and there's going to be a stock market flare up. Woohoo! Everything's going to be great again. People are going to get second mortgages on their houses, and they're going to start binging on credit cards again and buying second-hand used cars again. And it'll look like, oh my God, the economy is flourishing again. And they're going to post it like that. And of course, it's all fake. Just another fiat fake money scam going on, okay? Anyway, the other thing that I think was fun that was who got outed. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I can't cover it all, but Nancy, you know Nancy, she got outed. Oh God, she got outed so badly regarding the 6th day of January, about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when there was this big so-called mob riot thing. And what had happened is DJT had requested 10,000 National Guards to create stability, because everybody knew that this was going to be a very contentious evening. And it was. And as we all know now, Nancy told them all to stand down. But by that time it was too late, and everything turned into this massive, massive television show of chaos. And it all backfired, of course, on the conservatives. But Nancy was caught with a video camera, or some kind of cell phone camera, in her, suburban high security vehicle that evening, driving around stealthily through the neighborhood while all this chaos was unfolding. And she admitted, like, oh my God, I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for telling the National Guard to stand down. Oh my God. She outed herself. And now she can't not out herself. And she's doing a lot of damage control right now to cover it up. I don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like this wave. I don't know if you've noticed it, but all over the Western, so-called Western countries. In other words, Western Europe, NATO, the Eurozone, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, basically all the English-speaking countries. Those are the primary targets of the elites, especially white American conservatives. They are enemy number one. But anyway, it's getting a little awkward, because the sheer numbers of people across Western Europe, especially across Europe, that are basically saying enough is enough with all this political correctness, ESG, DEI, net zero, carbon this, solar that. Enough is enough. They're trying to, the farmers are protesting. They're sick of basically having all their chickens killed, all their cows killed. It'll be fish and seafood next. They're sick of all the fake bugs, fake treatments and everything. And so, and it's just numbers. More and more people who used to be called insane, far-right conservative conspiracy theorists are now turning out to just be enormous, millions and millions of people with just common sense who've decided, enough with the BS, we've all figured it out, so we're going to vote this way. And so there's a massive raging panic with all the elites over in Europe, because it's all falling apart. Their massive agenda is falling apart. Hi, Bubba. I put a little bit of ice over there for you.
Do you want some? I'm going to give you some ice. Hold on. I'll swap this one out. Stay there. Here, you can have this one, Bubba. This one is nice and fresh and cool. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I'm not going to even try and pretend I'm in control here. So, I wanted to. I'm just getting all this stuff off my chest because it's Gemini season, and I'm going and blah 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 blah. By the way, I'm not on my own with all this. These stories and these perspectives. I have a tiny YouTube channel, but you might recognize some of these names. Stu Peters, Alex Jones, Glenn Beck, Steve Bannon, Newsmax, Tucker Carlson, Janet Osabard. That's just a tiny handful of conservative common sense speakers who are under heavy pressure for censorship by the elites. But it's not working. That's not working. Hi, Bubba. Thanks for coming to visit, buddy. Don't worry, I'm going to set you up. I'm going to set you up. So, let me wind this up. I'm going to move on pretty quickly here. I just wanted to show you something on the chart and give you an idea of a heads up, okay? Sorry, Bubba. Let's go over here. Let's go to the stage over here. So as you can see, I put a big fat red squiggle over here with all the Gemini energy pounding on the Saturn 19 degrees. Okay? So that's what I've been talking about basically for the whole show so far. But here's the heads up. Look at this. I'm just going to show you. In other words, I'm not making up this stuff. Okay? Today is the 12th. We're here. Okay? We just came out of there. Okay? That was the, I think that was the new moon. Okay? So the big surge in Gemini energy and the shift of planets across many cusps. Don't worry, Bubba. I'm going to get you nice snacks and everything soon. Okay? You want to just jump down or you want to go on my knees? Okay, all right. Oh, wait. Okay, he's looking for snacks. I'm going to sort him out in a minute. So here we are. This is the 12th. And literally, in a matter of days, we're going to move from the 19-degree Saturn, okay, 19 degrees Saturn in Pisces over here. All the action is going to be amplified by the 29.5 degree mark of desperation in Neptune. I mean, it's all 29.5 degrees, all of this, okay? But it's going to be multiplied because it's going to be in a very hard square. So what I'm trying to do is show you how these squiggly numbers are translated onto my astrodoodle. So, okay, I'm going to mark it over here. It's right around here. The 29 degree mark, okay? So this changes things a little bit because what we're talking about now, instead of the Saturn 19 degrees hard squares that we've got right here, that's this one, okay? That's really the backbone of everything that I've been talking about this evening. What's going to happen is this red smear is going to move from here. I'm going to show you. It moved from here to here. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's a very, very big deal astrologically. Okay, the pressure is going to go from here to here. So what's happening is we're at the degrees of desperation. It'll be for the Sun and Venus and Mercury on to Neptune, all at around the 29 degree mark.
So the way I see it is that all the communications from people like myself, I like to think I have a bit of common sense, okay? And I do the astrology and I just call it out for what I see. Like if I saw that there was going to be some beautiful idyllic thing where we're all supposed to, wear stripy rainbow clothes and not worry about any kind of gender, and don't worry about if our children become manipulated by strange people that we don't know, then I would call that out. But I'm not that person. I call out what I think of as common sense. And I'm just using the astrology to back it up. And in other words, everything is exactly as it should be. How is that so? Why is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. Things are the way they are. Very, very, very ugly things are happening. And it's going to increase, okay? So in about, let's see, on the 21st, let's call it out. On the 21st, that's, what's today? The 12th. So it's just a little over a week. Okay, a little over a week from now, the energy is going to shift to the 29 degrees of desperation mark, okay? Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Gemini pounding on Neptune in Pisces. All of that stuff at 29 degrees. So my feeling is that we're going to see all sorts of displays of panic, desperation, chaos, insanity coming from any kind of person or entity or institution or broadcaster or anything that is fake, lies, bogus, BS. And I think there's going to be a lot more exposure of the BS, and it's just like, the only way I can describe it is like if you were walking around your neighborhood and there's a really, really bad smell and you started to realize, oh my God, we've got a major sewage problem going on over here somewhere. It's really, really bad, and everybody notices. And they think, oh, well, soon the authorities are going to do something about it. And then 10 days later, blam! The whole sewage system blows, and all the gates and the systems and everything just blows up, and everything gets putrefied and covered with the sewage. That's what I'm using this analogy of sewage as the very, very unhealthy expressions of the worst aspects of Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees in the 12th house of the world. Okay? So please don't be surprised. Like if you're a really hardcore lefty, for example, and you are totally wedded to your belief systems about how it all works in the world, and you feel as though you're being abused and outed by people who are insane conspiracy theorists, that's your privilege. You can feel that way if you want. On the other way around, if you feel that you have, I don't know, common sense or something, and you're thinking it's about time that we exposed the problem, the damage, you've got to reveal it to heal it. So once it's fully revealed, fully exposed about how bad it is and how big the problem is, then we can figure out, well, what are we going to do about it? One glaring example right now is China itself. China is heavily conflicted right now with the astrology, especially with Pisces. The Pisces energy is in very, very hard aspects to the Chinese Communist Party. And Mr. Ping, with all his, I think, delusions of grandeur, delusions of power, might really come unglued, because desperate people do desperate things, and 29 degrees is the degree of desperation. It's like the final attempt to get things in order according to those planets and those particular energies and those signs in those houses.
It happens very frequently. I mean, the moon goes at 29 degrees every, 2.5 degrees into the next sign. But anyway, if you're seeing stories about how amazing China is right now, please do your homework and understand that it's not true. China is in very, very deep trouble financially, economically, politically. So their stock market, their agriculture, their whole political system, the whole population is a fuming, boiling mess of people who are no longer shy about calling out how they have been betrayed by their so-called leaders. What they're realizing is that they've been completely and utterly robbed and abused in the name of some idealistic concept called COMMUNISM. I think that's how you spell it. Something like that. Anyway, I'm just calling it out. And because we have this, actually the Mars energy is calming down a bit because Mars is now in Taurus. But we still have tremendous instability in the global financial markets. And I guess we're going to see in about 10 days, we're going to see this unfold. We're already getting a lot of exposure and a lot of outing of anything and anyone that uses betrayal, deception, lies, manipulation, fraud, bribery, subversion, any of those evil, horrible energies to get done what they want to do. They're being outed. Okay, it's happening all over the world. And now that they're being outed, my feeling is once we get into that Neptune 29 degree mark in about 10, 12 days, and we're going to see the behavior of people who've been outed. I don't know what that's going to look like except desperation. I just know that desperation is going to be the core theme behind all of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and got something out of it. I tried to put it in some kind of order that made sense, but there's so much more we could have talked about, but I just wanted to get a few headlines out to you guys and how, in my opinion, how it correlates with the astrology. In other words, so you can use the astrology as a tool, just like a weather map. Oh, the sun is doing this. Oh, Saturn is doing that. Oh, okay, the moon is over there. So once you kind of get used to it all, you can I feel you can like navigate through life a little more fluidly with less chance of being involved in a train wreck or a piece of roadkill. All right. So on that pleasant note, I wish you a good evening. Okay. Over here, it is a sunny evening. It's about 116 in the shade out in the back. So with the full sun out the front, I don't know what it is. Last time the thermometer blew up. But anyway, there you go. Take care, everybody. I'm just going to play it out here. Thank you for watching. I know there's only a couple. Hello. I don't know if you even stayed, but thank you. I'm going to disappear now. Yeah, I'm just going to fade out quietly. Okay, bye-bye. Take care. See you soon.